Why are people scoring so many points in the NBA this season? I'm going to give you some stats to leave with. Scoring in today's NBA is insane. I sent out this tweet. In 2011, the Denver Nuggets led the NBA in points per game with 107.5. The Miami Heat are last in the NBA this season with 108.3. So 0.8 points more this year than in 2011, the league leader. So I asked the Twitter fam, why is NBA scoring up so much? I said 3 options. Players are much better. There's no defense. Or people are shooting more threes, which kind of turned into an efficiency conversation. What do you think?
One question before we answer the question. Like, how bored are you as like a content creator? Like what made you like yesterday morning at 11 a.m. when you've just traveled the country for God knows how long, come home and go, you know what? I'm going to look up 2011 NBA team. Like, did you see this somewhere else?
Obviously.
I don't think that's obvious.
So
it's stolen content.
100%, as is like 90% of the stuff we do here. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I was not looking at the 2011 numbers.
So if you're looking
But it was a conversation, right? Like in general, recently
especially
about
when
how
you
much is scoring.
start an Undersman brand. Like, this is something you need to concern yourself with.
Exactly.
In 2011, you're Bezos. You're Bezos. I remember when I first started gambling and before it was legal and before there were websites and anything, and I would take photos of a website and send it to somebody, whatever. The totals then were like 180.
Crazy.
It was nuts. But back to the question. So if you're looking, NBA scoring is up. Why? Are the players much better? Is there no defense? Are there more threes? Why can't all be right?
No, they could. They could.
But I will point to the players being much better. It's like, there's going to be naturally a lot more scoring when these guys are doing their job as professional basketball players, not part-time professional basketball players and part-time plumbers.
Here's where I actually disagree that the players are much better. The players today.
Stop.
What? No. I'm not talking era-wise. I'm talking about why is scoring up so much? Because in 2011, LeBron James was still in the league. In 2011, Stephen Curry was still in the league. Now, and I'm even talking like 2018 versus 2023, where scoring's up as well. Damian Lillard has the most 40-point games in his career already, and there's still 20-plus games to go. Scoring is up, and it's the same guys. So I don't buy that it is just because of that. So I actually say, no, it's not because players are much better. That's the only reason scoring's up. I actually think it's the smallest factor. You didn't think I'd come prepared like that, did you?
What do you mean the smallest factor?
Like of course players are better. So I heard actually Daryl Morey was on a podcast talking about the spacing because the players are more athletic. It makes it tougher to guard, but you would think the same would be the equivalent on defense. But I think there's less defense in the league today. I think it's the beauty of our generation.
If you're going to take these 3 options, players are much better, no defense, more threes, I think no defense is last.
Okay. So
they're still trying. Like, I didn't want to go down the nerdy route, but like analytics have become a huge part of the NBA. And what do the analytics say? It's like, from an efficiency standpoint, I don't know what the fuck they say. I can't understand them. But essentially what they say is either shoot a 3 or take a layup.
Correct. And I think that could absolutely be labeled as a factor. And I would have it over players are much better because the game is being played at a more efficient rate. Teams are shooting 3s or they're taking layups or dunks. But I'm going to make an argument for no defense right now. Our generation, it's a beautiful generation. It's the free thinking. It's the everyone can do their own thing. It's the you should use your paid time off, the fuck the grind type thing.
Facts.
And it's like we look around and everyone's rich, at least in the NBA. So the NBA players have realized everyone's
rich? What the fuck happened to me?
But like you got Jeff Bezos, right? Elon Musk. There's so much money in this world, right? And I think that our generation has realized that the guy across from you isn't necessarily, it doesn't mean that he's taking from you. Do you get what I mean by that?
Nope.
I mean by if you're gonna do well in your job and I'm gonna do well in mine, there's still money for both of us, and actually a decent amount of money.
Not necessarily.
That's how I feel. Like in the NBA, sure, maybe players are competitive, and PJ Tucker could take a couple million off of Jay Crowder if he has a better season. But they're still both going to get their bread. So I think when you look at the highest level and you're like, all right, would I rather lock in defensively and ruin Ja Morant's contract or my brother's contract because they're all best friends? Or would I just like, all right, you get 30, I get 30. If we both get 30, are we both getting $120 million a year? I mean, over a 4-year deal?
Dog, you could average 12, 5, and 5 like Ben Simmons and get $150 million.
But my point,
it doesn't take scoring to get paid in this league. It takes a good agent.
Sure, but my point is, I really think it's not a generation of if you eat, I can't eat. It's let's both eat, and I think it's led to no defense mindset.
Dude, you're telling me that no.
Who in the NBA today takes pride in playing defense? Even Giannis, who is the best defender in the league, he doesn't take
A lot of people.
Who? Name
a lot
one.
of people.
Name 'em.
Ben Simmons, PJ Tucker.
What? Ben Simmons doesn't have pride in anything.
That's facts. I
In
can't
literally
argue
anything.
that.
PJ
But
Tucker.
what does take pride mean? Like, in me, take pride means, because I guess a lot of people don't, to your point, is to try.
Correct. And if someone were to score on you a bunch of times, they would be quote unquote embarrassed, or their brand would drop, or their stock would drop. Think about how much Jalen Rose gets trolled for getting 81 dropped on his head, right? Who was guarding Donovan Mitchell when he had 71? Who was guarding Devin Booker when he had 7? No one knows, because no one cares anymore, because it doesn't matter. The only thing that they care about is not playing good defense. It's not getting embarrassed, not getting dunked on, not getting crossed over. Right. So they won't go and they won't try to block a shot.
I get what you're saying, but you can't attribute scoring being up to just nobody plays defense, as opposed to the other two.
I think that
Like, the answer is analytics. It is. Like, that is the technical answer to this question.
I would agree so. But
Because if you were to bring up these same stats, you could probably answer this question. 2011, how many threes per game were teams taking? 2011, how many twos per game were teams? And vice versa. You can do heat charts on the court where they were shooting shots from. Like, that'll give you your answer.
No, I agree.
If you
I
actually
think
care.
it's the
Or you can
3-pointers.
wait until someone else does that and you can take their content.
It's probably the 3-pointers, number one. And then second is the pace of play. And what I'm sure teams have
That's
realized
analytics.
is, playing against an unset defense is much easier. But even the Knicks, even Tom Thibodeau, they're okay giving up 115 points per game. And it's partially a pride thing. And teams just aren't playing defense as much. Name a superstar who's a lockdown defender besides...
Joel.
Is he though?
Yes.
Is he a great defender in retrospect to the league, or is he a lockdown defender? He can't be a lockdown because no one's even running post stuff on him. I'm talking like a guard wing who you stick him on, right? It was the
Tony Allen effect.
the Tony Allens of the world. Like, you can't name a guy. Marcus Smart was the defensive player of the year. But is he lockdown?
You want to talk about someone? Okay, maybe not lockdown, because I actually do think he's an overrated on-ball defender. But someone that takes pride in defense.
I'm talking about
when you genuinely can't do anything fucking else.
Right, you have
Matisse
to.
takes pride.
But
in
Ben
defense.
can't do anything else, and he doesn't take pride in it. But seriously, think about even Marcus Smart last year. How much did we troll Marcus Smart for being the defensive player of the year? Because he gets tossed and turned and that could be the argument.
It depends what your definition of lockdown defender is. Like, nobody in the league is giving 100% effort guarding 1 through 5 on a nightly. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Why?
It's not that deep.
Because they don't pay the bread that way.
Not that deep.
The bread man doesn't come around if you're locking.
The bread man comes around in the NBA.
He does.